we're joined by Amit Chhabra, who is the health business head at policybazaar.com. Thank you so much, Amit, for taking the time. Unfortunate that we're seeing hopefully what won't be too bad of a case of the COVID-19 pandemic with Omicron, but you have to be prepared for it. So in that context, what advice would you give people listening in terms of what policy you should have?
Well, yes. So I think there are a few things one must be very careful of, or keep that in mind when you're thinking about your health insurance policy. There have been a lot of learnings specifically from the past two waves. Specifically this year, earlier in April and May, we saw really horrid times. So a few learnings. One is maximize your sum insured. Now this is basically the coverage that you get with your health insurance policy. And this is applicable to people who have an existing health insurance policy or somebody who does not have a health insurance policy or is planning to buy. Make sure that you maximize your sum insured, because COVID, unfortunately, is something that spreads really fast. It spreads to the entire families, and it may lead to multiple hospitalizations and long hospitalizations in that case. So very important to maximize sum insured. A rule of thumb there is to at least have 10 lakhs of sum insured per member in your family. So let's say if you are a family of 2 adults and two children, then at least have 40 lakhs of sum insured. And quite conveniently, high sum insured does not cost a lot also. So the kind of money you will spend on buying a 10 lakh rupees sum insured versus buying a 40 lakh rupees sum insured is going to be quite, it won't be very incremental. So one should always try to maximize the sum insured. So that's one. Second, again, a big learning we had from the previous COVID wave is hospitalization at home is a reality. There would be times when hospital beds won't be available. We saw that a lot in a lot of cities earlier this year. So buy a policy which covers for domiciliary hospitalization or hospitalization at home, which basically means that in case a bed is not available, you can get treated in the comfort and safety of your home. The third thing to look at is make sure that you are aware of your policy's limitations like co-payments or deductibles or any of those limitations, sublimits that you may have. Essentially, what it means is that you should know that in case your policy has a co-payment, a certain amount has to go from your pocket and rest everything will be paid by the insurance company. Unfortunately, a lot of people buy a policy, but they're not told or they're not aware of what the policy contains, what are the limitations. So one should again be very, very cautious of it. One must take out look up your emails, take out your health insurance policies and look up what is the sum insured, what are the room rent limits, etc. so that you know what you have, and in case you want to upgrade or move on to a better policy, you can do that. I think these are the three things which one must keep in mind when you think of Omicron coming and health insurance from that perspective.
The other factor, of course, and some anecdotal evidence, some people speaking about the fact that claims did not get settled. When you're choosing your insurer, do you also have to be very particular in terms of the settlement ratio of that insurer when you're choosing who to go for, apart from what you've already spoken about, of course?
Absolutely. I think that's a very good point. See, buying health insurance could be a complex process, but as you said, right, there are certain metrics one could look at to make it simple. One of the easy metrics to look at is claim settlement ratio, and every insurance company has to publish the claim settlement ratio. If one, let's say, is buying on Policybazaar, you can actually look up on our website, and in front of every company's quotations, you can see their claim settlement ratios as well. So that can be a very good metric to look at when you look to decide which health insurance to buy for yourself. The other thing which becomes very, very important, and this is something which which everybody, all viewers should be aware of. See, insurance is a very heavily regulated industry. So what that means is there is a regulator which ensures, there is the government of India and the regulator by them, which ensures that no claim can be rejected for a flimsy reason at all. So I think what is very important is knowing your policy. Like what we saw in the last COVID wave is some of the claims that got rejected, they got rejected because they were still in the waiting period of COVID-19, or the claims got rejected or the amount settled were less because people were beyond their room rent limits or they were beyond some insureds. As such, insurance being a very regulated industry, there is no way that an insurer can deny a claim without a very valid reason or without the customer accepting that reason. So customers should be least worried about this. That's part one. And in general, it's always good to look at the claim settlement ratio because it gives you a perspective of how customer friendly a company's claim policies are.
The other factor, I think, that you need to bear in mind, and this is something that has come from personal experience as well, Amit, is the network of hospitals, right? And which your health insurance policy or your health insurance provider has tied up with, because if you don't have a hospital in the vicinity, that can prove to be a problem. You won't get cashless, and then settling it is a little bit of a tedious process, right?
That is very true, and to be honest, it becomes a problem more in tier 3, 4 cities. See, tier 1 cities, almost all the large insurance companies have a fairly large network. So today, if you look at it, all the large insurance companies would have a hospital network in excess of 8-10,000 hospitals across the country. So it's a fairly large network, and if you look at any large city, they will have coverage almost across the board. It does vary a bit when you go to tier 3, tier 4 cities, especially. So as a buyer, if you're looking to buy your policy, I think it's very important to keep in mind which hospitals, which hospitals would you want to go to in case of hospitalization, and make sure that your policy or your insurer does provide for that cashless network. Going cashless is very, very critical, and I'll take 10 seconds to explain that. See, cashless means that there is no immediate expense that you have to bear from your own pocket, and this becomes very important in times like COVID, where we are financially susceptible as well. So in that sense, looking for the right cashless network becomes very, very important. Also, another important point here is in COVID times, we've seen in the past that a lot of hospitals go full, so you may have to go outside your comfort zone, look outside, look to hospitals which are a bit far away. So again, it's always good to have more choice, always good to go for an insurance company with a wider cashless network of hospitals.
The other thing is, if you have older people at home, Amit, and this is something that I think people in my office also have, in terms of the question that they have, how do they manage this? Do they go ahead and pay that higher premium just to be safe, or do they choose to shore up their contingency funds to provide for that?
See, insurance, if you look at, I'll take an example here probably to explain this better. Like, I'll take my parents' example. They are about 70-year-old. I have a 20 lakh sum insured policy for them. Now, this 20 lakh sum insured policy costs me about ₹1 lakh every year. Now, one may think that, I'm paying ₹1 lakh, is that a bit too much? And I have and for context, I have a fairly feature-rich comprehensive policy for them. There are options available for as low as 30,000-40,000 rupees as well. The point I'm trying to make is, you're paying ₹1 lakh, yes, but the chances of, a 70-year-old parents, claiming is a lot more than 5%, and you're paying 5% of the sum insured as premium. So as such, from a customer's perspective or as a policy holder's perspective, buying health insurance will always be significantly cheaper for you than almost creating a health fund of yourself. And that's just part one of it. See, what also happens with health insurance is that the sum insured will increase every year. There is no claim bonus, so this 20 lakhs that I have becomes 40 lakhs in 2 years. So what that means is, essentially, I'm actually, after 2 years, I'll have 40 lakhs sum insured. And then there are various other benefits as well. So there's a restoration benefit attached to it as well, which means this 20 lakhs, after, let's say, in case one of my parents have exhausted 20 lakhs, the other parent also have it by default. And this is apart from the no claim bonus. So actually, this becomes 60 lakhs technically, and this can be made available to any customer. So the point I'm trying to make is, you end up paying ₹1 lakh every year, and what you're getting in return is a fairly large cover. The chances of a senior citizen at that age needing a claim is significantly high, and then typically, these end up being multiple claims over multiple years. So it is almost a no-brainer that for senior citizens, and practically for anybody, for having health insurance, because it will always be significantly cheaper than creating a health fund of yourself.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Amit, for taking the time. And this has certainly been an insightful conversation.
Thank you.